Connolly, also with us, South Carolina State Representative Bakari. His district includes Columbia, South Carolina. Good to have you both. Chad, is South Carolina going to pick the nominee this time around or weed them out?
I love how y'all have our talking points. I've been saying this for 7 or 8 months.
Come on.
For 30 years now, we've picked the eventual nominee.
But will it happen this time?
Oh, yeah.
Even with the dynamics of this race?
It's going to happen again. It's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Okay, who's it going to be? Since you're so sure of yourself.
I thought my Clemson Tigers would beat West Virginia, too, so I'm not a good predictor.
Okay.
So West Virginia just scored again, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, there is always this misunderstanding about South Carolina. The South Carolina Republicans, people go, oh, you go from New Hampshire, then you swing south, and oh, they're so conservative. The politics are so dirty. This is one of the most establishment states. I mean, if Haley Barbour could create a Republican Party from scratch, he would create the South Carolina Republican Party, because you guys are establishment time and time again. You are the firewall.
You know, I really think that the 30-year track record is not accidental. We got a pattern now. And when you look at it, you think, why? Well, we're a small enough state that people can crisscross and get around. Our media markets are relatively inexpensive compared to the Floridas, that anybody can compete on a level playing field. But we do have the best blend of the party that's nationwide. It's the social, the fiscal, and the military conservatives. I think that's got a lot to do with our prediction.
You go up south, Mika, obviously you got Greenville, Spartanburg area. It's Bob Jones, it's where Susan, my wife, is from. A lot of evangelicals up there. You come down here to the low country and you've got ne'er-do-wells like the people who are in this audience right now.
They have nothing to do.
Fiscal conservatives, and then again the military conservatives as well. And here we have a representative, a Democrat, who apparently didn't go to Clemson because he's making fun of the Clemson Tigers.
Yes, he is. And you
I take it you're a South Carolina Gamecock? Yeah, how did I figure that out?
You and Bakari have something in common. You both were elected at a very young age, but I think he beats you by about 8 years.
Oh, wow.
He was elected at age 22.
Yes.
Wow.
I've been in this game for a long time. I think my hair is getting a little bit grayer.
I don't see
hold
any
on.
gray.
Willie, you really need to you can rescind that comment right now. I mean, we're all, what, 20 years older than him?
Yeah, we're very old.
I'm walking out the door right now. I'm angry.
So what is, as we move forward to 2012, what is the Democratic message 2 years after Republicans enjoyed the biggest electoral landslide in state and national government in modern history?
Well, I think our president has ushered in 22 straight months of job growth. We've seen that. We have a country that is faring well throughout the world. We talk about Osama bin Laden, we talk about Gaddafi, we talk about some of our foreign policy victories that we've had. And now we're just excited to see what Chad and his colleagues do here in South Carolina. I'm not so sure that the South Carolina GOP is reflective of the nationwide party. In fact, I think that our Republican Party here in the country, in the state, plays in the fringes more so than the mainstream. And I'm looking forward to all of our presidential nominees who are Republican actually pandering further right. And kind of alienating the independent and moderate voters.
Is that a fair assessment?
No, of course. Of course it's not.
Wait a minute. Why would you say that?
Because this is a state that saved George Herbert Walker Bush. This is a state that saved John McCain. Those guys aren't in the fringes, Chad. They are Main Street Republicans.
Mitt Romney?
Well, I mean, I'm going to your comment that talked about the South Carolina establishment.
Right.
When we look at our elected officials here on the statewide level, our Republican Party controls all of our constitutional offices and 5 out of our 6 congressional officials.
Do you think Lindsey Graham operates on the fringes?
Well, Lindsey Graham is moving further right. I mean, Lindsey Graham has done wonderful things for the state of South Carolina.
Well, he can't go any further left, can he?
I hope that.
I mean, seriously. Actually, you never know which way Lindsey's going. I've known Lindsey since 1994. I still don't know what he is.
Lindsey Graham, but I am going to say that the policies that they've put forward in this state have done nothing but hurt us educationally, socially, and economically. And I think that's a proven fact.
All right, so Chad, here's the deal.
The state is struggling.
Mark Sanford, a good friend of mine from Congress. Mark famously carried 2 pigs into the state legislature.
Infamously.
And basically talking about how the legislature was spending too much money. He was an outsider. He ended up fairly popular given all of his problems. But then Nikki Haley comes along. And she promises that she's going to be sort of more establishment, more centered than Mark Sanford was. Wasn't going to provoke the Republican establishment, the Democratic establishment. But she's followed his path, but it upset even more people. I mean, do Republicans have trouble dealing even with their own governors here?
I think there's always going to be family squabbles and back and forth when you have politics. That's the name of the game. It's just like the primary season. You know, we see the bare knuckles backyard brawl going on.
Right.
I don't think it's unusual at all. In fact, this season's pretty tame.
Are you disappointed with some of Nikki's mistakes?
No, the governor's done a great job. She's got job growth going on, and we're spending more on education than we ever have. It continues to go up.
But as we say of Mitt Romney, a lot of unforced errors with Nikki Haley.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute, because you're talking about a state that has a 9.9% unemployment rate. We're higher than all of our neighbors, Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, and we're talking about a state where we have a quarter of shame. Literally, kids go to school where their infrastructure is falling apart, their windows and roofs don't work, and I'm not quite sure what we're talking about in this educational spending, because we had the opportunity to get $144 million from Arne Duncan and our federal partners, but Nikki Haley and Mick Zais turned that down. And when you go to Jasper County, Hampton County, Bamberg County, Barnwell County, and you see these kids have books from 1984, and you're turning away resources that are our federal tax dollars, that's a travesty.
Willie, guys?
How do you respond to that,
Well,
Chairman?
listen, I think what he's talking about is he's got bureaucracies that are over-bloated, and the dollars don't get to the classroom. That's what's going on in South Carolina.
No.
It's been going on for years. And so what we see down there in those counties is they actually get more dollars per child than other counties get, but they're so misspent by bloated bureaucracies and administration.
Well,
only 44 cents education dollar gets to the classroom. That's what's really being reversed in Mick Zais' administration and Nikki Haley's.